Alright, this is Joe and Cola with GrowingYourGreens.com. Today we have another exciting episode for you. We're here in Gardena, California. That's down in Los Angeles. And we're here for a very special reason. We're at one of my favorite nurseries in all of Southern California. It's actually called the Centros Nursery. And we're here today for one very important reason, because this is one of the only places that I've ever found that sells full-size, mature, both green and purple tree collards. Tree collards are my #1 recommended vegetable that you guys plant in your yard, and I'm glad they've been growing and propagating these for many years now. So what we're going to do is we're going to go into Centros, share with you guys the tree collards, more about the tree collards, plus another few unique crops that they're offering here. Alright, so now we're going to look at one of the unique plants that they're selling here, actually a vegetable crop that's also known as a perennial edible vegetable, much like the tree collards. Literally here in Southern California, if you don't get a frost, you guys plant these guys once and you'll basically have them forever. And what this is here, it's right here, check it out. This is the cholesterol lowering plant. It says this amazing plant has lowered the cholesterol of hundreds of customers. Simply eat 3 raw leaves a day. And what we're looking at here are these guys, and this is called the Gynera. And I believe this is Gynera procums, and I'm actually growing this at home. They sell the plants here. This is easily propagated by cuttings. Now, besides the standard green variety, they also have the a purple variety, and the leaf actually shape is a little bit different. These are kind of more jagged edge leaves, but check it out, these are purple on the bottom. I would recommend you guys actually grow both these varieties, because one may be more hardy than the other, and the health benefits of these guys may be, you know, similar or maybe even a little bit different. I want to always encourage you guys to eat a diet rich in fresh fruits and vegetables. You know, the solution, in my opinion, to having high cholesterol is not maybe necessarily eating leaves from a cholesterol lowering plant, but to change your diet so that you don't have high cholesterol in the first place. No plant food in the whole world does ever contain cholesterol. You can only get cholesterol through animal products, through meats, chicken, you know, fish, eggs, dairy products, yogurt, cheeses, ice creams. All those things have cholesterol, and it gives us excess cholesterol when eaten in too high a quantity. Our bodies can make our own cholesterol, provided you're eating a fairly good balanced diet, so we don't need to be eating any extra. But just in case if you do, you may want to grow some of these guys, which may help your cholesterol. But definitely, if it was me, I would make some dietary changes and eat more plants. One of the cool things about the Centros Nursery here is that on the sign actually it says headquarters for vegetables, and they definitely have lots of vegetable plants that they're offering here. You know, what I think is really neat is a place where urban gardeners and growers that want to grow at home can come for a whole bunch of different varieties and selections of vegetables. I think it's far too common in this day and age that places that sell plant starts, you know, have very limited scope of varieties they offer, because they're depending on, you know, the distribution chain to give them plants to sell. I like Centros here because actually they propagate and start some of their own plants to have the things like the tree collards that can be very rare. Here we're in their section of a whole bunch of different vegetable starts. We're looking at things like arugula and lettuces and oreganos and basils and cilantro, all kinds of stuff here. And you know, while these are really cool, most of these guys will go through their life cycle. What does that mean? That means you're gonna plant this guy, it's gonna grow, you'll be able to harvest off it, it'll actually go to flower, set seed, and then poof, it's done. And then you gotta start over, you gotta plant a new plant. A much better way to grow food, in my opinion, is a perennial edible vegetable like the tree collards. So actually, let's take a look at those next. So these are the perennial tree collards. These are probably my favorite vegetable in the whole world, if I had to just pick one, because they are literally maintenance free for the most part. You plant them once, they keep growing and growing. You could keep eating and eating. I mean, this is how nature works, and this is how I think we should all be growing vegetables. The plants that literally can continue to grow and provide you food each and every day. This is especially good for people that want to be able to grow their own food, but not have to tend to their garden all the time. Literally, you could take one of these little small guys here, just in little 4-inch containers, right? Plant this in a large, you know, half a wine barrel or big nursery pot, and have this guy grow, you know, 10+ feet tall. every single day it grows new leaves. You can harvest the leaves, make delicious salads, make delicious green smoothies, make delicious vegetable juices out of them, and really enjoy them. Now, one of the cool things is they have two different varieties here. They have both a green tree-collared variety and a purple tree-collared variety. I've been growing the purple for much longer than I have the green, and you know, they both have their pros and cons. The greens tend to get actually very tall up the single trunk, so this is very easy to stake, train, and control, so it could get a nice large tree. On the flip side, the leaves on the greens tend to be larger and tend to taste a little more stronger. So if you like a nice strong collard leaf, the green one is your baby. Now, if you like things a little bit sweeter like I do, the purple one's your baby. The leaves can also get quite big, but they're generally sweeter, and both these guys are sweeter in the wintertime when it's colder out. Now, I have grown these in a mild climate like zone 9 and 9A. They last year round, no problem. The question always comes up, John, will this handle the snow? Well, you know, I do know I have a friend that had the tree collards out in like 2 days of snow and some cold weather, and it was all right, but would it sustain forever permafrost or, you know, covered with snow for months? I have no idea. I would suggest if you do live in a climate that does get quite cold to plant them in pots, have them outside in the summer and bring them inside in the winter, or minimally plant some outside and then take a few cuttings and keep those growing in the winter so you won't lose your genetics. That's another cool thing about these guys, how these guys are propagated from cuttings, because these rarely, if ever, go to seed, although I have had some of mine seed on me. I guess the next thing is let's go ahead and take a look at some of these guys that are much more mature and older, and how beautiful and how tall and how much food they actually produce. So here's some tree collards in larger containers. As you guys can see, you know, here's a 1 gallon. Now, as the container size moves up, you're gonna pay more here at the nursery. So, you know, the 1 gallons are more expensive than the 4 inchers, and you know, the 25 gallons are more expensive than the 1 gallons. I always encourage you guys to buy the largest plant in the largest container that you can afford. So, you know, because you know what, that's gonna save you time. If you get the smaller plant, it'll grow into that bigger plant, but it's gonna take a lot longer to do so. Why not get an established, mature plant that's already putting out? I like plants that put out, that are putting out for you, so you could get more leafy greens, dark leafy greens in your diet. You know, dark leafy greens and leafy green vegetables are the most nutrient-dense food on the planet. What does nutrient-dense mean? This means that it has the most level of nutrition, including phytochemicals and phytonutrients, antioxidants, vitamins, and minerals, compared to the calories. Most standard Americans are eating junk foods, which are high in calories but low in nutrition. Leafy greens are the exact opposite. Most nutrients with the least calories. So these are gonna keep you slim, keep you healthy, wealthy, and strong at the same time. So my goal is to eat 2 pounds of leafy greens every day, and just with a few tree collard plants, I could easily harvest enough to do just that. So as you guys can see, here's some of the taller plants here. This is the purple variety, and this guy is pushing like 3 feet tall. Definitely looks really cool, nice large leaves. Here's another purple variety, and one of the things with the purple variety is that it tends to make a lot of offshoots, so it'll tend to shoot out a lot and won't get a nice erect column. In addition, the stalks don't get super thick, so they stay kind of thin. So you know, you do need to stake and support them. Here's actually a little stake in this guy, and you do want to stake and tie them off really well, because if they do get too tall and you're not training them up, they're actually gonna break on you. So you can see here they have all different kinds of the tree collards, both green and the purple, like so many different ones in all these different size containers. And you might think, wow, John, that's pretty impressive. These guys are pushing 3 feet tall, but that ain't nothing. Let me show you some super tall guys next. So now I wanna show you guys some of the tall tree collards. Look at these guys here. I mean, the purple one's like pushing 6 feet, and the green ones, they're pushing 10 feet tall. Actually, harvesting 10 feet tall tree collards might be a little bit challenging, but check it out, man. This is like literally a wall of tree collards. I mean, if you have an established front yard, you know, hey, pop a couple of these guys in to have leafy greens in your front yard next to your lawn, next to the house. These guys producing some nice large leaves, and I can't even reach up there how tall these guys are. Here's one that's much more manageable. This is a 6 foot tall, approximately, purple tree collard variety. And once again, this purple one is staked really well because these guys don't get really thick trunks. Over on these guys here, the green ones, you can see the green ones actually gets a nice thick trunk on it. And you know, it is self-supporting and self-stable. Now, when these tree collards get so tall, they get top heavy. So it's very important to like have the bottom weighted down, or maybe have some stakes so that it won't tip over. And you want to be sure to water your tree collards well. They are heavy drinkers. You don't want to make the roots like submerged and soaked in water, but you want to keep them nice and moist. They definitely like it nice and moist, and the moist you can keep it, the more they're gonna grow for you. Next, I want to share with you guys how you can propagate the tree collard. So if you come to Centros, I'd recommend you guys buy a bunch of different plants and have established plants, and then, you know, start working on propagating them and learning how to basically grow more from your existing plants. So the easiest way is with cuttings and shoot cuttings. So let me go ahead and show you guys. Here's a nice large green tree collard, and you can see like this even gets kind of woody right here, and as we kind of go up, it actually turns from the woodiness into more of the green. If we go up a little bit further, you're gonna see little babies popping up the side, or little shoots. So what you're gonna wanna do is you're gonna basically break one of these shoots off, like break it off the stem, and then you're gonna take that shoot and then put it in some dirt and keep it watered, and that's actually gonna grow into a brand new plant. So on the purple variety, I would like to do the stem cutting. So what you can do is you can just take part of the stem here, and you're just basically gonna cut it off a segment, and then literally just stick the stem and make sure you get that part facing down into the soil, and then it's actually gonna root and grow out new little shoots out the side. The final way you can actually propagate the tree collards is by the tip cuttings. So here's a brand new stem coming up. You can see the older, more mature leaves. As we get down to the middle here, we get some nice little new baby growth, and this is where all the energy is for the plant. You're gonna basically take the tip here, and you can see this, the tip here. We're gonna snap it off like right here at the top, and then we're gonna take some of the big leaves off, leave a few small ones, and then once again, we're gonna take that little tip and just put it in some dirt, keep it watered, keep it moist, and actually root and shoot up into a brand new plant. So once you guys got these guys, you guys could make more. More importantly, besides making more for yourself, I always encourage you guys to spread the genetic diversity. I think the tree collards is something that every American should be growing in their front yard so that they could have their year-round supply of edible, leafy green vegetables. So the last thing I want to say about the perennial tree collards is that they are one of my favorite, most useful plants, and one of the problems that you'll have is actually you're gonna have so many different leaves, you're not gonna know what to do with them all. So now I'm gonna share with you guys how I use some of my tree collards. Number one really good way to use them is to blend them up in a green smoothie. So take some water, some ripe bananas, and some leafy greens. Maybe you have to start out with one or two at first if you're not used to this, and blend them up. Pretty much because you got bananas in there, you're gonna taste nothing but the sweetness of the bananas, but you'll get some greens in you, because the problem with the standard American is that they don't get enough leafy greens in them. I think the per capita consumption for things like kale and, you know, collard greens is a ½ pound per person. You're thinking, wow, John, that's a lot, man, ½ pound per person. Wait, not until you hear how often that is. The average person eats ½ pound of kale or probably other dark leafy greens per year. So ½ pound per year, man, I might eat that in one day. If you have one of these guys, you'll be easily able to do that each and every day because this guy keeps making leaves. So number one, green smoothie. Number two, fresh vegetable juices. Nothing better than a fresh vegetable juice. I like to juice up some collard greens with some celery, some cucumbers, and some apples for a nice, delicious green drink. Another way you can do it is make a salad. So I love my salads. I love eating salads nearly every night. I like to just take the greens. What we're gonna do is we're gonna basically just roll them up into like a big cigar. Then you're just gonna take a knife and just chop, chop, chop and make little threads out of it. So you're basically making little threads of leaves. You know, this creates more surface area, makes it easier for these for the leaves to chew. Plus also it's best to harvest the smaller baby leaves for use when you're eating salads, and make a nice delicious dressing. One of my favorite dressings is you literally take some fresh orange juice, I usually squeeze my own myself, blend it up with some raw macadamia nuts into an orange cream dressing and pour that over your collard leaves. Mmm, so delicious. Another way I enjoy my collard leaves is using it instead of buying tortilla shells or anything like that. You're just gonna go ahead and get a nice large leaf, and check it out, this is a nice large leaf. Spread some guacamole right in the middle with some pico de gallo. Then you're gonna roll it up burrito style and eat it right up. You know, I always encourage you guys to eat out of your garden instead of the grocery store. You know, if you could, you know, now use leaves instead of buying processed tortilla shells, you know, or corn tortilla shells made with probably GMO corn, that's definitely a good thing. Another way I like to use my tree collards is by making tree collard chips. Yummy and delicious. I'll use a similar dressing that I made for the salad. So with the orange juice and the macadamia nuts blended with some other herbs and spices, and we'll paste that on the leaf, put that in the dehydrator at 105 degrees and let it dehydrate out. Then we're gonna have dehydrated tree collard chips with a nice delicious sauce. It's kind of like eating that salad, but it's dried out. And man, this is great for kids, great for when you want something crunchy and so delicious. Yet another way you can use your tree collards is by making tree collard sauerkraut. So we all know you could take cabbage and make the sauerkraut. You could also make a tree collard sauerkraut. So I recommend using like half tree collards and half standard cabbage and mixing it up. And actually it'll ferment into a nice sauerkraut. You can do 100% tree collards also, but it tends to taste a lot stronger. So I recommend like doing the 50-50 mix. I mean, these are some of the ways that you can start using some of your tree collards in your recipes so that you can get more greens in you and you know, grow more of your own food easily, because by far the tree collards are the easiest thing to grow. Even if you have an apartment, small space, no matter what, I think everybody should be growing some tree collards. All right, so if you guys want to get some of these tree collards here at Centro's Nursery, you want to come down to Gardena, California, where I basically had a Rosecrans and Avalon Boulevard. It's 525 Rosecrans here, but you better hurry because you know, the owner is looking to sell the place. So if you are actually in the market of starting a nursery, an established nursery that's been here for many years now, you may consider buying Centro's and you know, making it new and fresh, bringing in new vegetables to sell, and continue with selling the tree collards. I think this would be an excellent idea to have a home base for people that want to grow their own food, so that people could come here and buy all different varieties of unique and rare and common vegetable starts. Unfortunately, what happened was this is a family-owned business, husband and wife team, and the wife lost the husband. She has been widowed now, and she just cannot keep up this nursery by herself. So currently she's looking to sell it, and so you want to call Jason, the broker there in the back, if you're interested in buying the nursery. Otherwise, you want to come down here and get some tree collards before they go out of business, so that at least you'll have some of this genetic diversity in your garden that you'll now be able to spread out to others. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this episode. Once again, I want to encourage all you guys to eat out of your garden instead of the grocery store and get some of the tree collards. They are my #1 favorite perennial edible vegetable I've ever found to date. Once again, my name is John Kohler with growingyourgreens.com. We'll see you next time, and remember, keep on growing.